So this is day 4 with Escher, and I was able to take him on a little journey to my barn, so it's quite a long walk. And one thing about the barns that I have now versus being back up at Rock Creek was Rock Creek had a really nice wash rack, which is very handy for the green horses because there are walls behind them when you're working with them. And I like to spend a lot of time grooming the young horses, especially the mustangs. It really helps with the bonding. So what I did here was I put him in, this is actually Johnny's stall, and then it actually worked out quite well because I was able to have a bag of alfalfa and really yummy hay, so make it all really positive. And here I'm taking a pair of, these are actually my bandage scissors, and they work really well. They're safer because they have blunt edges, so he was very cooperative and let me trim a little spot for his halter, and then trimmed up his mane, make him be a little bit cooler. It's pretty warm down here in Florida. And again, that's kind of a preference for people. So some people like to leave their manes long. All of my horses, I like to have them keep them trimmed up short. It's easier for me to maintain and for us to go about our work. So I really like to use the Espana silk products, Detangle. They work really well. You can see he has really no issues with me brushing his tail. He did really great. So just playing around with him here, trying to get a nice little body shot of him. And then we are on our way walking back out to his round pen, letting him see kind of all the sights.
Come on, Ash.
Sometimes it can be a little difficult to film and train at the same time, but this works out pretty good. He's being really good.
Come on. Through the mud.
And I really liked his curiosity here with this palm frond. He really didn't care, thought he could try to eat it, and thus he gains the nickname Piglet because he loves to eat. So no worries about that, and had a good little walk back to his pen. So now this is day 8 with Escher. He had several days off because I had to go to an eventing competition. So now we are back at it. You can see it's the end of the day. Once the big horses are back in competition, I have to kind of squeeze in the training sessions with him. So walking back to my little barn, you can see it's quite a jaunt from his little pen, but here we are playing with trotting next to me, starting to figure it out. And just working on getting him to walk right next to my shoulder. And Megan's actually filming me while she's driving on the Kubota, so this is pretty good work of getting him used to vehicles coming around. And he's used to the sound of the Kubota as we drive that up to his round pen to feed him, so he's starting to get a good association with it. Here I'm just working on kind of our transitions. I think that was the palm frond and he got to walk over. He had to take a second there to try to see if he could eat that hay. Silly horse. And here he spooked and tried to kind of run into my lap a little bit, so I used my elbow to block, and he was just concerned about the new pile of gravel that had been delivered, so I took the opportunity to let him check it out. Anytime my horse is worried, I like to teach them to touch things with their nose, because that's to increase the curiosity, and if I can get them to go forward with their nose, I can get forward movement. So he handled that pretty well, as this is the second time he's coming up to the barn. You'll see here he gets a little concerned because it's pretty dark and it's different ground. So going from the dark asphalt to the brick, sometimes they are hesitant. So in asking him to step forward and putting pressure on the halter a little bit, and then I used my stick with the very slight touch, not even, just suggesting, so he can learn to walk next to my shoulder. And it tends to help them with confidence wise if you can stay in the shoulder area right where their eye, because then you're walking with them. I find that really helps. And again, letting him investigate and touch things with his nose. So he's been in here already. He does have a positive association, but it has been a couple of days. So I'm going to go and grab a couple of handfuls of hay because he still doesn't know how to eat treats yet. So that is a work in progress. With the Mustangs, we do have to kind of teach them how to eat grain and sometimes learn how to take treats from your hand. So you can see he's pretty excitable about the hay, which is good. And he does have a little spot on his nose that has turned into a summer sore. And so here you can see I'm working with a little, this is a Buckeye apple treat, which all of my horses love, but Escher is not quite sure about. So even though he'll take hay from my hand, he's not sure about the cookie. So sometimes putting it in the bucket, which he knows how to eat grain out of a bucket now, so he has that association. Sometimes curiosity gets a little bit of the best of him there, but he handled the bucket and the sound falling down pretty well. So I'm getting some medicine here to address his nose. He has a spot that has turned into a summer sore. Summer sores are sores that don't really heal well, and they're from the flies landing on them that have a certain type of larvae in there, and they're really a pain in the butt to get rid of, especially when the horses get them. So it's just been a real problem down here in Florida, but he's getting pretty good about me working on his face and putting stuff on his face. I give him a little bit of a scratch reward here. Again, I like to really try to take and spend the time. And I'm going to grab a little bit of fly spray. He handles this like a champ. And most of my Mustangs handle being sprayed with fly spray pretty well. I really never have an issue of introducing it to them, especially because they really don't like bugs. So they seem to be pretty appreciative of it. But these bottles, this is another Espana Silk product. It's their fly spray, which is great because it's all natural, so you can spray it on their face. And the bottles it's actually a pretty quiet spray bottle, so it works really well. So now I'm going to go and pick up all 4 feet. This is kind of making this a daily routine. You can see he's a little bit sticky for his hind right, but he's starting to figure it out. And really, I just am wanting him to pick up the foot with the pressure. I let the rope get a little long here on the ground. I should have made that a little bit tighter, but he did pretty good with that. And I was really happy with him, so he is moving right along and retaining everything that he's being taught.